Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Bullion. Our guest today is Chris Galizio, the executive producer of Money Game. Chris is an experienced institutional portfolio manager with a long track record of success. Welcome back, Chris.
Thanks, Ivan. Good to see you. It's always good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. Before we were recording this, you were just mentioning, you really think we're on the brink of a, economic collapse or a U.S. debt crisis. What were you saying, and why do you feel strongly about this?
So to me, the signs are everywhere. I saw you have a. So first of all, the opening quote in the movie in Money Game: "The task is not to see what no one else sees, but to think what no one else has thought about that which everybody sees." Right. So everyone's intuition is that nothing makes sense. You're seeing fart coin traded at 1.4 billion. We laugh, but that's the point, right? Trust is being broken, right? I saw you had an interview with Lobo Tiger, and
Yeah,
what he said markets aren't reacting to anything anymore, right? He's like he'll say, well, this happened and no, there was no reaction. That happened and there was no reaction. That's the point of Money Game. When the Fed intervened in bond markets, they broke the ecosystem of capitalism. The entire system shifted to passive and quant. There's no humans left.
right.
It reminds me of Obi-Wan Kenobi, who said, "I feel this great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices have been silenced in terror. I feel like something terrible has happened," and that's what happened. The entire system of capitalism is broken because there's nobody thinking anymore, right? So you see volatility levels at all-time lows. Markets don't react. I saw you saw recently that Trump was talking about putting 300% tariffs on semiconductor firms, and the day that happened, semiconductor firms, which AMD trades at 73 times earnings or free cash flow, moved 2%. If you
Wow.
put 300% tariffs, that is the point. The markets are no longer reacting, right? So
Right. It's broken.
correct. The entire system is now a policy tool of the Fed. Um, Now, think about this. In a passive world, right, the ecosystem changed. When I started as a portfolio manager, 10% of the market was passive. When I finished 10 years later, it was probably right. Well, to put it right now, it's probably about 60%, right? Quants are another 20, 25%. Then there's closet indexers. I mean, when you add it all up, you're basically talking about almost 100% of the system is passive. If you talk into Grok and you said, in a passive world, what would happen? Like how would if a company issued shares, how would that market react? Well, if you issue shares, you become bigger in the index. When you become bigger in the index, the passives are forced to buy you at the quarter. So stocks
Okay.
aren't going up. I mean, companies like Palantir, which trades at what 120 times revenue.
Yeah,
Um,
it's crazy.
well, it's crazy because why you have to understand why it's happening. It's happening because they're issuing shares. So what's happening is zombie corps are outperforming companies that lose money, companies that need financing because they're issuing shares. When they issue shares, market cap goes up. Right? They're not going up because they're beating expectations. There's no humans out there to even view expectations.
So are you just allowed to issue as many shares as you want?
Yes.
Oh
As a
my
matter of fact,
goodness.
notice the best performing stock in the market has been MicroStrategy. People are believing that MicroStrategy is going up because it's Bitcoin. It's not. It's going up because it's issuing shares. Now, on top
Mm.
of that, so they issue shares. The passives are forced to buy. The market cap goes up. The quants follow. In Money Game, we say it's a bunch of followers, quant, following followers, passive. It's like a cat chasing its tail, right? So when you start seeing that everything's going up, not because of fundamentals, not because of ethics, not because of productivity, they don't produce anything. Microsoft doesn't produce anything. You're living in an unethical world. They didn't earn anything. They didn't earn the money from software sales and then put it into Bitcoin. They sold shares. And if you look at their software sales, the software sales are declining. It's a zombie corp. But you should notice that. So that's the point of Money Game. The more the system misallocates resources, the slower the growth of the real economy, right? Because it's not capitalism anymore. As a matter of fact, the architect of the system you're living in was Richard Nixon, the
Okay.
petrol system, right? And what he said is not about truth. It's about the perception of truth.
Right.
Because it's not, this isn't capitalism, right? Again, the theme of Money Game is capitalism requires risk to allocate scarce resources. Once they removed risk, it's not capitalism anymore, right?
Right.
Now you have Scott Bessent talking about manipulation of interest rates. The entire system is based on interest rates. That's how we price everything.
Right.
If we can't trust that it's being set by the markets and they're manipulating it down, that's the money game, by the way, then the entire system can't be trusted. So you're living in a system that cannot be trusted. Nothing makes sense. And the more we misallocate resources, theme of the movie, the more the systems, the real economy grows. Which, by the way, is the elephant in the room in Money Games. Our main character, right? It's James. And again, we're not asking Bryce. James isn't asking Bryson, the CEO of Tappet, in the movie. He's not asking him, "How does your company make money?" He's asking the audience, "How long will we tolerate a system built on lies?"
Right.
Right? Higher system. And so I know it's a certainty for me what's going to happen. This has happened multiple times in history, right? The way to, if you talk about the Russian Revolution, Lenin, the way to crush the bourgeois is to trap them between taxes and inflation. We're doing the same thing today, right? These poor young people in their 20s and 30s trying to afford a house that's 5x their incomes. It's the highest in history. 3x
Right.
is like a 2 standard deviation. Now we're at 5x.
Wow.
You're in a system that does not make sense. That's how revolutions happen. That's how the Russian Revolution happened. That's what happened in 1789 with the French Revolution. Right? It's the same stuff that's happening. And here you have Besant saying, "Hey, let's lower interest rates," because what they're doing is, by the way, during the French Revolution, that the nobles, the top 2%, were exempt from taxes.
Yeah,
Their
yeah.
was exempt from taxes.
Along with the clergy as well.
Correct. So that the 98% were paying. In Money Game, we say, "Do you see why the rich have all the money? Their stocks are trading infinite." Now you have Besant trying to lower interest rates, which will send stocks up. Again, not these companies didn't earn this money. If you look at a company like Avago, Avago has issued shares. Share count went from 2,700 10 years ago to 4,800. Okay. If you look at the value today, that's $651 million. I'm sorry, $651 billion. Over the last 10 years, they earned 70 billion.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense, right? It's what we say. When interest rates go negative, real terms, all assets are worth infinite. My coffee is worth infinite. My desk is worth infinite. Do you see why the rich have all the money? The stocks trade infinite. The thing you should notice is it is not an investing system. It's a financing system, right? The
Right.
system is now rewarding companies. And just look, all the companies that lose money go up the most. The companies that make money and pay back shares are being punished. That doesn't
So,
make sense.
hello, my silver and gold bugs. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Back to the video. So, yeah, it's the companies who are issuing the shares,
Correct.
and then they trigger the passives. What is the passives? Can you explain that? Like, what is that?
Sure, it's a passive index.
Okay.
So in other words, most people are 60% understand that why did the passive market win, right? Because all that's happening is the Fed prints money, flows to passive indexes, which is say the S&P 500, but the Nasdaq 1,000, the Nasdaq
Right.
3,000. Nobody thinks. All they do is say, "I'm going to take my money and I'm going to put it in an index fund," which means I buy all the stocks in the index, regardless of valuations. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm not even going to think, right? In Money Game, we say the lions have been eaten. Active managers, a bunch of followers following followers, like a cat chasing its tail. Humans didn't lose from. So the system is supposed to. A portfolio manager's job isn't really to beat the market. It's only to beat the market if the market's efficient.
Right.
If it's efficient. The real job of a portfolio manager is to efficiently allocate scarce resources. When the Fed intervened, all the money flowed to the machines, not because the machines, passive and quant, are smart, but because they have no morals, right?
Wow.
Machines have no morals. It's moral hazard, right? So humans would have looked at Avago and said, "Oh my God, it's trading at I don't know, it's a whatever, it's 178 times earnings. So I won't get my money back in 178 years."
It's crazy.
right? So if you remember in Money Game, he says, Professor Gardner turns says, "Who here is willing to give me $152, called 152 times earnings, if I give you $1 for the rest of your life?" Dumbest kid in the class. That's the irony of Money Game, right? Dumbest kid in the class says, "Hell no, we'd all be dead by the time we broke even." And then
Right.
Gardner turns to him and says, "Correct." Right? But you have financial professionals who don't understand what's happening. Right? The Fed is manipulating markets. Professor Gardner will raise the book, The Efficient Market Thesis. He laughs. He takes it, throws it in the trash. Smart people thought the world was flat once too. Then he raises the story of the Great German Inflation, which is what I think we're seeing. I didn't make the movie for. I'm trying to warn the population of something that I think is a certainty. Right? I think
Absolutely.
it's a certainty that the currency is going to crash. By the way, when you were talking about Toga or
Lobo.
Lobo, I'm sorry. He was. We were talking about buying silver. Understand, you're not buying silver. What you're doing is you're selling fiat,
Right.
right? I mean, Voltaire said, without trust, um, the paper money is just paper.
Right. Absolutely. It's just paper.
Correct. And so what you're really doing now that you understand what they're doing, and they're going to print. I mean, the second biggest line in on Money Game is print the money or trigger the revolution. So here we are with debt to GDP of $37 trillion. It's 5 times receipts. Receipts are only 5 trillion, right? So
Right.
so we're sitting in. By the way, that doesn't even include all the off balance sheet thing. There's no way the government can pay its debt. There's no way. So we know the value. It's a certainty. The value of a bond, the value of the dollars you have in your pocket are zero.
Right.
It's a certainty. So what? By the way, central banks are not buying gold at its peak because they don't know anything. They're what they're doing is they're buying it privately before the trust collapses publicly. Right? It's a
Wow.
certainty what's going to happen. This isn't a guess. It wasn't isn't a price target. That's why I say once I hear someone put a price target on gold or silver, I know they don't understand what they own. Because
Right.
during
Yeah.
the Russian Revolution, it went to zero. During the French Revolution, it went to zero. This time, it's a certainty. I mean, Fartcoin can laugh, and that's fine. There was a deli in New Jersey trading $115 million. Just a deli that was losing 400,000.
That's crazy.
We know the value. You can take that all the way from there to Boeing. Boeing loses $10 billion a year. If I asked a 10-year-old how much would you pay to lose 10 billion a year, they would laugh at you and say zero.
Yeah.
That's why I know. But the thing that's ironic is that financial professionals don't understand it. I saw someone posting on Druckenmiller and how smart he is for buying Avago. Avago's yield is 1%. That's not smart. That doesn't
Right.
make sense. Like, why would you? He will get his money back in 100 years, and let's hope he lives long enough, as long as Noah did, because Noah lived for 950 years. So
Wow.
eventually he'll make his money back if he invests. But he understand it's not going up because of cash flows. It's going up because interest rates are going negative, right? In real terms, and we're seeing it in inflation. By the way, they're lying to you about inflation, right? Just go to the grocery store, go to a restaurant.
Yeah,
You'll see
everything's more
why inflation is
expensive.
10%.
And now a message from our sponsor, Juggernaut Exploration.
One of the more exciting ones, I think, is Juggernaut. I know some people say, well, lightning can't strike twice, and but look, I think one of the things you got to reflect on is that some of the guys who work here at Juggernaut are some of the same geologists that basically found and have now advanced sherbet at Goliath, okay, over the past years. So they have a very different way of thinking about exploration in the Golden Triangle than most other geologists, okay? And they've gone out and they've identified what could be another sherbet type target here. And the size of these veins is absolutely jaw dropping. My hunch is these guys are onto something pretty special.
The link in the description is right below for Juggernaut Exploration. Now back to the episode. Yeah, absolutely. Everything's more expensive when you go to the stores. So, yeah, you're absolutely spot on. They're lying and manipulating the inflation data, and we're seeing
Right.
it every day. Now, Chris, before you go, I really want people to watch Money Game. I'm going to put the link in the description below. But where can they watch Money Game, and where can they connect with you?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Chris Galizio on LinkedIn. And to me, the message is more important than the movie. So connect with me, ask questions. I'll get right back to you. I just feel like I had the biggest message in the world. If you want to see the movie, now the movie is just a movie, right? It's a love story. At the end of the day, we didn't want to make it a lecture. So
Right.
you can find it on Tubi for free. You can find it on Amazon. It's $5. It's on a bunch of things, Fandango. But feel free to contact me on LinkedIn because really I know that I have a message here. At the end of the day, I believe Money Game is the biggest, most important movie that's ever been made because
Wow.
you're sitting before a sovereign debt crisis, right? And so we're trying to explain to you what's happening and why it's happening. And to me, it's a certainty that the currency is going to collapse. There's no way around it because the more they manipulate, and they're talking about it again, the more companies that lose money go up, and the more the entire system
Absolutely.
allocates resources, which then slows the real economy. And the whole
Yeah.
system is a facade, and it was a facade designed by Kissinger. And when Kissinger says it's not about truth, but the perception of truth, he's
Absolutely.
basically he's telling you that this system isn't real.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone watching this, I highly recommend. Please go check out the movie. I'm going to put the link in the description below, so that way you can watch it. And I'm going to put your LinkedIn in the description below as well, Chris.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for coming down and spreading this, this message to everyone in the silver and gold community. And as the market develops, and who knows what happens next week, like there could be a bank run next week. I'd really love to have you back on in the future.
Happy to do it anytime, Evan. Thanks for having me.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks.